Hi, I'm Matthew Blakeborough. I'm a psychology major here at UCSC, and I'm originally from San Diego, California.
My name is Phil Hammack. I'm a professor of psychology at UC Santa Cruz. Psychology at UC Santa Cruz is done differently than anywhere else. We take seriously the study of the person in context. So even though we may do laboratory research, we also do field research, we do community engaged research, we have opportunities to work with communities in clinical settings as well. Everything we do is grounded in community and in the real world.
I chose to study psychology because it's a very well-rounded major. There's a lot of different subfields that you can go into: clinical, social, developmental, all that focus on different aspects of the brain and how the brain develops. And it's been really fun seeing all of the professors in the field as well, because they are current researchers who do a lot of cool work and very current work in the field.
We're very interdisciplinary. So all of us faculty, we think really broadly, we engage with different disciplines, we engage with things like race and ethnic studies and feminist studies, as well as computer science and digital media and technology. There are kind of almost unlimited opportunities to get involved in research. There's so many different labs, people studying cognitive psychology, perception, language and memory, developmental psychology, adolescence and social media. And in the social psychology area, topics anywhere from the experience of immigration to, for example, my lab, which studies sexual and gender diversity. There's just so many opportunities to get involved in research.
I was able to work with an elementary school doing classroom assistant work, which was very helpful for me because I would like to use my experience in psychology for education and teaching. So it was really cool that they had the opportunity to work in a classroom and get that hands-on experience, as well as learning about learning and memory and how children develop through my classes. So it was a very well-rounded experience to have work in the classroom, and I feel very prepared to go into that as I'm thinking about doing grad school.